Hi, I'm Manithan Ryan, a medical doctor with 20 years of experience in the healthcare sector, and today I'm going to be discussing the salaries of GPs in the public sector in South Africa. GPs in the public sector are referred to as medical officers. In 2009, after an unprecedented strike, a system referred to as the Occupational Specific Dispensation was finally negotiated upon. This system was created as a career pathing for doctors and also to improve the salaries of doctors. So what are the elements of the salary? The elements of the salary of medical officers in the public sector has three components to it. One is the total cost to employer, secondly is the rural or inhospitable allowance, and finally the overtime. I'm discussing the salaries for 2019 and 2020 and the tax year for 2019-20.
The OSD had introduced three pathways for doctors: the general practitioner pathway, a specialist pathway, and a management pathway. We will be discussing the general practitioner pathway, namely the community service, medical officer, clinical manager, and senior clinical manager remuneration. So what is the salary? As I said, the components are the total cost to employer, overtime, and the allowances. So what are the overtime categories and what is overtime? As I discussed in the previous episode, overtime in South Africa for doctors is a commuted overtime system, meaning that the hours that you worked are averaged and you're paid on an average hour per week. So there are four groups, but we are going to be discussing group 3 as most of the doctors belong to group 3. So the community service salary, the total cost to employer is 666,090 rands. If the doctor works a group 3 overtime, the salary is 247,992 rand more. The gross therefore being 853,468 rands 11 cents, and the net after taxes and deductions of pension, the employee contribution, the salary is 48,721, which is your take home. This excludes your medical aid, housing, etc. But like the intern, the community service post is a contract post. Therefore, as a doctor on a contract service, you can opt out of pension. This puts in around 60,000 more in your pocket, and you'll have a gross salary of 914,082, bringing your net per month of 53,421. It means you would not contribute to pension, and all this money is then available to you. The medical officer grade 1, 2, and 3 is the next pathway that a doctor can take. After completing your community service, you will be eligible for grade 1. As a medical officer grade 1, your salary is 821,205 rand. Working in overtime of 16 hours, your salary now improves by 305,743 rands and 25 cents. The way this is calculated has been explained in my previous episode. So if you want to understand how overtime is calculated, please click the link above to get to episode 2. So your gross salary therefore is 1,052,218, and the net per month is 58,093. After 5 years, your gross will improve to 1,203,104 rands 44, giving you a net salary of 65,205. Your grade 3 salary improves to 1,396,235 rands and 9 cents. giving you a net salary of 74,314 Rand 21. The next category is a clinical manager. This is a supervisory position, and you are eligible to become a clinical manager grade 1 after completing your community service and 3 years as a medical officer. So with 3 years experience, you can apply for a position of clinical manager when it is available. The salary here improves to 1.173900. That's the total cost to employer. And your overtime of 437,055 rands gives you a gross salary per annum of 1.5 million rands. Your net salary per month is 79,401.71. A senior clinical manager also requires 3 years experience post community service. These positions are hard to come by and are mainly seen in provinces like Limpopo. The total cost to employers 1,628,850 rands. With an overtime of 16 hours, 606,437 Rand and 96 cents. The gross salary just taking you over 2 million and your net being 105,216. So how does this affect your salary with the allowances? You have an inhospitable and rural allowance, which was also explained in my previous episode. So I'm not going to go through the description, but to say that if you take a position in a hospital with an inhospitable allowance of 18% or a rural allowance of 22%, your community service salary improves if you're opting out of pension from 53,421 to 57,547 and 58,460 if you're working in a rural hospital. The medical officer salary improves from 58,093 per month to 63,180 rands and 64,310 rands respectively. If you're a grade 2 medical officer, this improves to 71,000 rands, almost 6,000 more. And with the rural allowance, if you're working in a hospital or a rural allowance, it's 72,317. The clinical manager salary improves from 79,000 to 86,000 and 87,879 for a rural allowance. And finally, the senior clinical manager, we're looking at the last notch, the maximum salary that you can get. It's 116,713 rands if you're working in a rural environment. And so you can see, it takes you approximately 18 years to get to 116,713 take home. This is your net. It's over 2.2 million as a gross salary. So this is how much doctors or general practitioners in the public sector earn. So how does this help you? Now that we understand the salaries, let's look at the career options as a medical officer or a GP. Firstly, you can continue as a medical officer in the public sector, maybe work in a rural area or a semi-rural area and earn between 18 and 22% more. You can also go into GP practice, specialize, join the corporate or administrative world, working for a medical aid, insurance company, or a pharmaceutical company. You can join an NGO or research institute, work for a mining hospital, work as a locum, emigrate, or immigrate. So now that you understand the salary structure in the public sector, you'll be able to negotiate from a place of strength.
Thank you for joining me today looking at general practitioner or medical officer salaries in South Africa. If you liked what you heard, please press the like button. If you want to hear more content about lifestyle, career pathing, finances for medical professionals, please subscribe. See you soon.